For this week's Smith Business Close-Up, we're on location here at the University of Maryland. And joining us at the Robert H. Smith School of Business is Dr. Martin Dresner, chair of the Smith School's Department of Logistics, Business, and Public Policy. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
We want to focus on airline baggage fees, which are a growing thing in the aviation business, something the airlines seem to like, customers not so much.
Yes, the airlines generate a lot of revenue through the baggage fees, and of course passengers would prefer not to pay the fees.
How do you look at the revenue? How does it stack up in relation to the ticket fees and the other sources of revenue that the airlines have?
For most airlines, it's still relatively small compared to what they make off the actual ticket fees, but it's growing, and it's in the billions for U.S. carriers in total. And for some carriers, baggage fees and these other ancillary fees are actually quite high, especially for the deep discount carriers like Spirit.
Now, on the other hand, you have Southwest, which still lets people fly with two bags for free, so it creates a marketing opportunity for them, perhaps.
Exactly. It is a marketing opportunity, but I wonder whether if they could go back 6 or 7 years, whether they would have made a different decision, because they are giving up a fair bit of revenue by not charging those baggage fees.
There is a surprising amount of variability in what the different carriers charge. Some people, if you have a certain credit card, you get a free bag. And as a consumer, it makes it difficult to shop for a flight because you can't just look at the fare anymore.
Yeah, that is a problem that has been recognized especially with the online travel services such as Expedia, and it's actually something that's ongoing now, a debate between the airlines, the online travel agencies. I think the government's involved in this, and exactly how transparent these fees should be and what information the online travel agencies ought to pass on to the airlines and vice versa. So for example, the online travel agencies may not know your frequent flyer status, so they won't know how to price the bags because they don't have that information about you.
One of the travel websites that I look at a lot is Kayak, and for the deep discount carriers you mentioned, Frontier, Spirit, next to their lowball fare, they'll have a little $ as a reminder to people who know the code that if you're taking a bag, even a carry-on, you're going to be paying more.
Right, although, and I'm not sure about those carriers in particular, there may be some people who are exempt from those fees, and so it's these nuances, exactly who pays and who doesn't pay, that complicates the pricing structure for the online travel agents.
How far is this going to go? How far do you see this going? I mean, the joke has always been that at some point they're going to put a coin-operated restroom in the back of the plane.
Well, I don't know whether it's a joke. Ryanair was seriously thinking about doing that in Europe, and they have actually done it. I'm not sure they're going to charge a euro or a pound to use the restroom. And the CEO is a bit of a caustic individual who just said, well, it's sort of your problem. If you have to use the facilities, why didn't you use them in the airport before you got onto the plane?
Well, one of the impacts of the baggage fees or the fees to check a bag is that you see more people trying to shove larger and larger suitcases into the overhead bins. Does that impact the airlines negatively in terms of being able to quickly load and unload a plane and get it back in the air?
Yeah, that was one of the research questions we looked at. We wanted to see what happened to sort of the operating outcomes of the airlines, and mainly whether their on-time performance level fell after they instituted these fees. And if you take a look at it, there's actually two sort of countervailing forces. One is the one that you mentioned, in that the cabins may take longer to load because people are trying to bring on more cabin baggage, and they're putting it in the overhead bins. But the other is that the baggage that goes into the cargo hold is going to be less, and so the airlines may be able to load and unload that baggage faster. So, which of these outweighs the other? And in fact, we found that after instituting these baggage fees, that on average, the on-time performances of carriers improved.
So it sounds like this is a trend that is going to keep going.
Well, the other thing that we found as far as the baggage fees goes, and this is perhaps even more important, is that passengers and potential passengers view baggage fee payments differently from actual ticket prices. So if a carrier can reduce its price, say by $25 and instead charge you $25 for a baggage fee, it can actually gain on average passengers because people tend to look at the price more closely than they do the baggage fee when they're making their decision as to who to fly.
Interesting. So I paid the same amount of money, but because I did it in 2 transactions, maybe weeks apart, I didn't feel it as much.
I guess that's a good way of looking at it.
Interesting stuff. Martin Dresner joining us at the Smith School of Business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.